Hello and welcome to CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and founder at CIO News. This is our exclusive fireside chat powered by Goto. It's a recorded session and will be available on our website, that is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. I'm very excited to invite our guest for today. We have Priyank Sheth, the Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer at Anand Rathi Group. Priyank is an IT enabler and a strategic thinker for business, having rich, insightful, and diversified experience of 24 plus years in information security and information technology management. A firm believer of thought leadership, having experience of working in broadcast media, publications, education, social, and digital business domain. He's a strong advocate of collaborating business and IT goals to achieve mission and vision statements for any organization. Priyank, it is an absolute pleasure to have you, and we're really looking forward to get your valuable insights in our today's episode.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Khushbu, for having me on this particular platform. This is an opportunity for me to express my views on technology and security for these days, as we are aware that the era is a complete digital era, and
Yes.
from the starting of the pandemic, we have seen multiple and a multitude of attacks. Uh, India as in at third number in terms of total number of attacks. So we are aware that security is the main goal for every organization. Post pandemic, and I mean, even our organization aligned with the similar, the thought process that the priority, topmost priority for the business is the security of our customer data, security of our overall ecosystem, and security of, the privacy and other stuff, which is on topmost priority for the Anand Rathi group as of now.
Right. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that insight with us. Before we move forward to our discussion, I would also want to quickly introduce our second panel member. We have Mathew Philip, the Senior Director and a Country Manager at Goto. Mathew is a business leader with around 20 plus years of experience across business development, strategic alliance, and people management. He has a successful track record in leading large sales teams, creating strategic partnership, and developing go-to-market strategies. Matthew, absolute pleasure to have you as well.
Yes, yeah, good afternoon to Khushbu and good afternoon, Priyank. Wonderful to be here and listening to what the esteemed panelist has to speak, as well as share my thoughts around this on how technology can enable the new normal.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I would like to, first put across my question to you, Priyank. Being, at a leadership role at a C-level position of such a large group company, what does your typical day look like? How is your typical day looking like post pandemic, especially?
So, as I have mentioned earlier, also Khushbu, uh, I have joined this organization, before 1 week of the pandemic, and when I have reached uh, the, the load related to the work from home scenario,
Yeah.
uh, IT has to work from from the office, and our trading members need to work from the office. Rest all people, uh, we have decided to go as and work from home. So that was in very rush time or a hurry time. Uh, I mean, there was no specific time, or there was no the much time available to decide how to handle the situation. Uh, Little bit thought about that, what sort of a basic security we can enable for the remote workers. So what we have done is initially we have released certain guidelines that we are doing this kind of a provision for users like sales, marketing, finance and accounts and kind of a people. Uh, After that, after releasing the guideline, we have procured some solution on high priority, which we have enabled to our work from home users. So that was, I mean, initial 1 month was very crucial to handle the situation. After a month, it was little bit ease for us to handle, to give the support to the remote user, because we almost overcome the challenges which were there for initial 1 month. Solution which we had implemented that time was, I would say, was not the 100% secure, but still there was certain elements which was enabled on that particular technology, or the pieces we have joined together to enable the security for work from home users, which was sufficient enough for at that point in time.
Okay.
After that, the pandemic stint was extended, and during that particular stint we have implemented various tools and technologies which can handle the overall risk towards the Anand Rathi group, their humans, their manpower, their the assets and kind of stuff that we have already implemented. Related to the security portion, even the management was worried about initially how we are going to handle this, how we are going to share the data, how we are going to connect to the customers and kind of a stuff, which was very crucial for at that point in time. But I must say that the IT team of Anand Rathi has handled it very, very successfully.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, how is it now? I mean, do you still have a hybrid environment at Anuradi Group, or post pandemic, or is it still?
No. I mean, 2 months back, we have started 100% capacity. But probably looking at the current situation, the cases, number of cases are increasing. So probably it may come again that, 50% staff will work from home.
Right. Okay. Okay. Sure. Great to know. I think that you've implemented technologies which is ready to work on such a dynamic environment when right now it's work from office. Tomorrow again we don't know. I mean, God forbid it doesn't happen, but we don't know what the future looks like. So we have to be ready with our technology and security postures to keep business continuity. So great to know on that. Matthew, my question to you is: given the demands of today's distributed workforce and such a dynamic environment, it's become imperative to scale up and arm the IT teams with the right tools. Um, what have you seen while you interact with a lot of CIOs, CTOs, and CISOs? What have been the demands of the IT ecosystem on this front?
Thanks, Khushbu. A quick background on Goto, right? So, from as an organization, we've been around for 19 years, and we started off as a remote access software provider. So, a history of enabling businesses to do remote work. So, for us, remote work has always been part of our DNA. And long before the pandemic itself, our employees have been working hybrid, right? There were employees who used to be operating out of offices, employees who used to be operating out of remote locations across the globe, not just from our India business. So for us, when this pandemic hit, like Priyank did mention, right, overnight businesses had to move their employees to work from home. We went and extended the expertise we had in supporting our customers to work from home. That journey which they had to go due to compulsion, we were happy that we could extend our expertise to a lot of our customers, which helped them to move their employees to work from home. And many things from
Right.
our emergency remote work kits, which were helping our customers and businesses to work from home. So that's one part of what I wanted to share. The second is moving forward. clearly it looks like hybrid work would play a very important role in the way businesses are going to work. Priyank is right. Some businesses would go back to working from offices completely, but looks like a lot of businesses would continue. They may not be fully remote, they may not be fully work from home or fully in office, could be a hybrid model. And some data to back it up, a recent research said 7 out of 10 employees would say no to a job which does not offer flexible work because they've got used to it. Over the last 2 years, a lot of employees have seen the benefits of work from home. They have got more time for themselves, their families. And businesses are also seeing value. It's not just about employees, they're saving a lot of costs, real estate optimization, acceleration of their sustainability goals. So clearly, work from home is going to be a very important way of working ahead. Now, having said that, if flexible work or hybrid work is going to be important, how does it look like? Like a flexible work world, how would it look like? So your employee, whether he is in office or whether they are in office at their home or working remote, the experience needs to be seamless. So, and whether they should be able to connect to their colleagues, to their customers, whether they are in a car, they are in a cafe or a conference room, right kind of video meeting tools they will need to do this. Contact centers, if you look at it, your contact center agents who are in touch with your employees or your customers are the first level of experience which the customer gets is from these contact center agents. Now, they should be
Right.
able to also get the benefit of hybrid work. They should be also able to take their entire contact center home and operate out of home. Now with employees moving across, I mean, moving out of offices in different locations, if they have a problem with their computing device, they may not be able to come to the office for getting it repaired. You need to have the right kind of remote support tool by which you can remote in and give a resolution to their problem so that they can continue to be productive. Something like a
Correct.
town hall. Right. Earlier, the company leadership or a CEO would get all the employees into the town and talk to them about how the quarter looks like, how the next, what are the goals, missions. But now with employees working everywhere, it may not be possible to bring them into the town. So, but they still not need to be able to communicate to them whether the employee is in the town or outside the town. For that, you need the right kind of webinar platform. They,
Right.
something like an endpoint, like a lot of their applications which today an employee needs may not, because he's operating from home or remote, may not be available to him. The application would be available at a computing device or a desktop at the office. How do you remotely access that from wherever he is there, remotely, securely access it? So a lot of these things is what an ideal flexible work world will look like. Now, you
Correct.
will need technologies which will help you go through this journey. Right? And that's where a strong remote work or flexible work technology provider will play a very important role in enabling you through this journey and get you to this, what do you call it, the ideal state of giving the right experience to the employee in or out of office. So that's my view on this, Khushbu.
Great, great. On that, Priyank, I wanted to ask you, how about Anand Rathi Group? Is your entire IT help desk fully empowered to provide fast and efficient support for the current flexible ways of working today and in the future?
Yes, I would say absolutely. Uh, the way we have carried out the implementation in terms of remote support, or I would say global support, uh, you know, today we can proudly say that we are there to support any of the user of Anand Rathi from where or from anywhere they are working. I would say I would brief about something since we all are aware that pandemic has changed every legacy and thrown new challenges towards the every organization and ecosystem. You know how IT was supporting 3 years back. It's completely a history. Majority of the organization are following a new norms. The new technology against the new norms. So now, whatever the way we were, supporting our user earlier before 3 years, now completely it is, the legacy, or I would say the legacy has gone. Today's business demand, as Mathew rightly said, that distributed architecture or a distributed environment or a distributed workforce. So because of this particular demand, there are lots of challenges thrown to the IT and security people in every ecosystem, in each and every organization. Certain, organization has overcome this kind of a challenges, and certain are still struggling. I mean, small
Right.
organizations are still, they struggling for this particular, the challenge.
Right.
uh, in addition to this, Anand Rathi has taken this decision very early. Starting of the pandemic, we have implemented, right, remote support tool, uh, which has given us a certain level of security. And over a period of time, we have, implemented the complete zero trust system. Now we are on a zero trust, where employee has a freedom to work from anywhere. Even the HR has a freedom to hire any person, any skill, anywhere. So
Right.
these are the benefits what we have, got from the pandemic. And thanks to the technology, thanks to the, remote support tools, and people who have created this kind of a tools, uh, it's a beautiful, the hybrid environment which has been created now, which gives ideally the, the benefit to the organization in terms of cost savings, in terms of efficiency, even the user front. If you look at the user front, it gives them a flexibility, right?
Correct.
In office, we know that we have to go to office at so and so time, and there is no time to come back. But when you are working from home, when you are working from remote place, you have that flexibility. So
Right.
there are lots of benefits also, which is there, adopting this kind of a model. So
Correct.
I would say initially in our environment, there were lots of questions in the management's mind. Even in IT and security, people were asking the lots of questions like behavioral analysis and process monitoring and technology enablement and MIS of daily activities, and what about the security, and the infra and application level, how we are going to manage those all challenges were there initially. But the moment we have started this kind of implementation, which, in terms of very flexible, which has
Right.
given us a freedom, which has given us a freedom to, take the benefit out of, pandemic.
Right, right. Absolutely. I think security is also one of the top priorities. Priyank, if you can share what are the other, like, we come on the security, which you mentioned that you've implemented zero trust, which helps in the current hybrid environment and makes it ready, future ready as well. So, apart from security, what are the other top priorities that, Anand Rathi Group is considered or considers for any report support solution?
So, see, security is a paramount these days. Security is a
True.
major concern for any of the solution, not just only for the remote support, but any whatever you are adopting in terms of in your, ecosystem. You are introducing any solution you are creating in house, or you are taking from outside. Security
Right,
is the paramount. You have to handle those, before you go and final any solution, or before you go and implement any solution. You have to have a detailed about deep security, what all things are there, what all things, you have to consider as an, a risk adoption, or acceptance kind of a stuff. So
right,
apart from security, if you can look at the challenges towards, remote support. So in IT, if we are there in a physical environment, uh, compared to the physical environment, during the remote support, even the IT people can work from anywhere. Even, you can reduce your workforce, because if it's a human mentality, when you are physically available, people will call you on desk. But if you are not available physically, and everybody are aware that we have to take a support on remote, right? So there the, reduction in terms of manpower will be there. You can definitely reduce the cost of manpower as well.
Right.
Apart from this, when we are talking about certain remote tools, so remote tool, there are certain things which demands from the business side. If somebody is working from a home, then definitely the business will ask, what is the efficiency that we are getting if somebody is working from home. So again, the monitoring, behavioral part will also be there in terms of, if user is working from home, whether he is following the guidelines given by the organization, how we are going to monitor those things. Those are the basic stuff these days people are demanding. Even the every organization, the business or the management are demanding. Apart from this, there are certain areas where user has also a concern about the
Right.
privacy, right?
Right.
When you are capturing a photo in between, if user is working, right, at that point in time you are not aware. I mean, system is again a dumb device. You don't know what the system is capturing, right?
Right.
The user is working on some financial portal of, or the banking site. At that time we are capturing the photo, then there is definitely a, concern for the user, that why you are capturing when I'm supplying my credential to my own financial, the account. So I mean, whatever the solutions we are defining in terms of remote, we have to consider all these aspects where users' privacy will not be breached. Whatever the management demands or requirement has to be fulfilled, in terms of MIS, in terms of support, in terms of even the uh, take care about the IT assets what we have given to the user to work from home. So these are the basic things which we need to cover, considering any of the remote tool.
Sure. Awesome. Matthew, on that, if you can also share some of the biggest challenges faced before and after adopting the remote support, and while Priyank also mentioned about the security aspect, what are the standards for which an IT support tool should adhere from a security standpoint?
Yeah, yeah, Khushbu, thanks. And I think Priyank covered it well, right? He talked about security being a very key component and a robust administration facility, functionalities, right? He talked about privacy. So before I get into that, even the step about what should be the things to consider before and after, I mean, let me just touch about two or three trends which we are seeing is impacting the tech support, right? So let me talk a little bit on that, right? One is obviously the supply chain disruption. So there are three trends. Let me start with the first one, supply chain disruption. And we know post the pandemic, the supply chain was severely impacted. Everything from paper to the chips used in car became into short supply. And with fewer parts available, wholesale replacements becoming problem, suddenly the tech support became more and more important. Right, these tech support agents needed to resolve, or fix everything from printers, computers, even mobile devices. Right, they needed to do. So for that, you need a fast and reliable remote support that is easy to use, and more importantly, can support a variety of devices, not just computers or laptops or desktops. It also needs to do mobile devices and possibly even give an option of visual inspection of the devices. So that was one trend which we saw was impacting tech support. The second trend is, though the pandemic seems to be subsiding, right? At least I'm an optimist and I believe that it is subsiding. That consumers are carrying their digital habits which they picked up during the pandemic. So if you look at it, a recent survey was done by Appnovation. It was, and they said that 53% of the consumers believe that online experiences will continue to play a very important role, as important as that of the in-person one, because they believe that in pandemic has shown that anything that can be done uh, online which can be done in person can also be done online, right? So which means that people will expect digital support along with in-person support. So again, so this trend, what does it imply? It implies that businesses, because there will be a lot of consumers who will want a digital support, businesses will need a highly secure tool that gives the right digital support experience while safeguarding against cyber threats, right? So that's going, which like Priyank also mentioned about the concern about security. And the third, which is the impact of the great resignation. We know how businesses have been impacted across the globe. With 2021 was considered the year of the great resignation, right? So much of turnover, and contact center attrition was one of the highest, and tech support specialist was considered the highest turnover job, was ranked number one when it comes to the jobs with the highest turnover or with people leaving. So which meant that organizations will have junior tech agents joining them on a regular basis. So how do you get them to collaborate with senior techs? How do you get a visibility of the technician performance in real time so that you can train them? And because people are going to be, you are not going to have the staffing, adequate staffing at any point because of these resignations coming in. So then you would need to have the right remote support tool or visual engagement tool to provide support across your hardware and software, right?
Right.
So if you ask me, a combination of these three trends, right? One is your entire supply chain disruption, your consumers' habits getting carried forward from the pandemic, and the resignation. A combination of these three trends means that
Yes.
remote support is going to play a critical role. So you will need a remote support tool which is fast, which is reliable. Reliable means uptime is very, very important. It's simple to use, which means you should be able to, once you invest in it, you should be quickly able to do it. Your agent should be able to use it. The adoption should be high, and it should be able to support a variety of devices from laptops to mobiles, whether it be your Windows or Mac or your Android or iOS, right? And obviously, security is going to be key, right? So, I mean, I can talk a bit more on the security if I have time, but yeah, security is like everything, right? From your having encrypted 256-bit encrypted sessions, remote sessions, to having your remote sessions recorded for audit purpose, having your session logs available for audit, zero trust security, which Priyank mentioned about, right? So there are a lot of things which come around security, but depending on the time, I can talk a little more on that. But yeah, from a remote support, I think that's what you should look for, other than the functionalities, right? Obviously, remote support is not just about the security or some of the easy to use. It a lot of things like unattended access, right? Sometimes you may need to provide an access to a device where there is nobody is sitting on that device, right? They may have gone out, the machine is down, so you should be able to do an unattended access to those servers or desktops which do not have any user using it at that moment. You need to have mobile support, which I did talk to about. Integration capability, I think, which Priyank also touched on. Your remote support tool is not, it will not work standalone, right? You need to have this working closely with your CRM or with your ITSM tool, which means your remote support tool should be able to integrate with these so that you have a unified experience, right? So all these functionalities also play a critical role along with security and other functionalities. And one last point which I would like to touch upon is the advanced administration, which Priyank spoke, right? What the management expects. So you would need to see, okay, you have a new agent who's come in, is he productive? You need to ensure you should be able to do a permission-based access. Which devices can he access? Which devices he cannot access? What are the permissions which he have during a remote session? Right? Having reports which you can generate on agent productivity. So this is what the management expects. So a lot advanced administration should be part of that remote support functionality. So these are some of the things which you should look for when you invest. The trends will obviously influence this, but these are some of the functionalities you should look for when you go in for a remote support tool.
Right, right. Great. I think this has been a fantastic episode. I would like to, first of all, thank Matthew and Priyank for taking out time and joining us today on this episode. We could have gone more, but looking at the time constraint, but I look forward to having many more discussions. Thank you for joining on this episode and sharing all your valuable insights with us.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you so much.
Thank,
Thank you, Matthew.
thank you, Khushbu, and thank you, Priyank, for your insights too.